Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse DC Classics Midnighter. This is a Target exclusive gold label figure. I pre-ordered him on the Target app, and he arrived today. Now, Midnighter is kind of an interesting character. He used to be part of the Wildcats, not even a DC comic property. DC Comics has absorbed him, and he's almost a minor bat-supported character in the Rebirth. He's interacted with Nightwing quite a bit. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus. This guy's part of the Gold Label collection. A Gold Label figure is simply a retailer exclusive, whether it be Amazon or Walmart. This particular Gold Label is a Target exclusive. DC Multiverse Midnighter. Here he's in the package. Looks like he has 4 hands, 2 bats, a display stand, and a collector's card. One side of the package, Midnighter, DC Classic. I do think it's odd to label him as a DC Classic. Definitely not a classic character. Midnighter. At the bottom, bunch of credits. There's his barcode, if that helps anybody. And on the back side, here he is posed up, taking on a big crowd of people. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And I did end up getting 2 of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, and the other one to keep unopened in my Batman-related action figure collection. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He has a display stand, collector's card, 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, and then 2 bats or clubs. But before we take a look at that, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Midnighter. He was originally part of Wildstorm comics, and then they kind of collapsed and disappeared. DC Comics absorbed him and introduced him into the comic series. He's a human with artificial enhancements. He was originally known for a member of the superhero team Authority. He was introduced into DC Comics in 2011. Now, he's been working with Dick Grayson, Nightwing, in Bloodhaven for a while. He's met a lot of the Batman supporting characters, and he actually met Batman in 2021. Not exactly a Batman character, but maybe kind of sort of. I'm planning to put this guy with my Batman Incorporated display. Seems to make sense for me. Now, he's not exactly in his most normal costume. This one's a little bit lighter, but still pretty cool figure. He's a really violent vigilante, similar to Batman, but he's not just a regular human. He went through some enhancements in the past. His enhancements include superhuman strength, speed, reflexes. He's a master tactician, similar to Batman or Bruce Wayne. So, let's take a look at him. Start with his head here. He has that mask on top. Of course, no bat ears. White eyes, probably has lenses there too. You can see some stubble on his beard. It looks pretty good. He's got armor on the shoulder, double jointed elbows, these sort of things hanging off. Kind of reminds me of the bat fins, but it's not what it is. I can see this sort of moon thing, this logo here, Midnighter. Now the body is done with the future state Batman. We'll take a look at that later. You can see his trench coat kind of goes up to the side, double jointed knees. He's got these little straps here, looks like a holster. A little bit of texturing on the pants, it's different from the rest. Kind of armor underneath there. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. And here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane stand we've seen a million times before. It's a perfect circle, very thin, very basic. Now for his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Midnighter taking on a big mob of people. Midnighter, DC Classic. On the back side, there's a description. If you want to read that, pause now. It mentions him being a vigilante and then currently being part of the Stormwatch team. Now let's check out his hands. He has a total of 4 of them, 2 left hands and 2 right hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And here's his second pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands. Now let's look at his bats or clubs. Look like big, giant metal bats. A very sort of violent, brutal weapon. I like it. Kind of non-lethal, but it's definitely going to fuck you up. Here's Midnighter holding those 2 bats. Now he shares a lot of the same parts from the Future State Dark Detective Batman. I wanted to check out the differences and the similarities. So let's take a look. Start with their heads here. Obviously, the heads are different, although he has the same sort of chin strap. Then the jacket is the same. His is black, his is brown. Same shoulder pads. So I believe it's the same at the very top shoulder area, but then the bicep down is going to be different arms. Although honestly, they do look familiar. I have an idea where they might have come from. The torso looks to be the same. It's just painted with this midnight thing here. As we go further down, the legs and the belt also appear to be exactly the same. So honestly, the exact same figure besides the head and then the arm from the bicep all the way down. And I thought maybe they were from the Last Night on Earth Batman, and I was wrong. But I definitely have seen these forearms before. The straps look very familiar. Anyone identify them? Drop me a line in the comments below. Just can't quite put my finger on it. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now for his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at about 7.1 inches tall, which can translate to about 18 centimeters. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, you can rotate from side to side. He can look up, not much, down a little bit. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes up about 90 degrees. The shoulder pads are soft, they move out of the way. Up, down, around. He does have a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest, increasing the range of motion and covering a large gap that would be there. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrist can rotate and it's going to be hinged. He's got ball joint his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion his torso. I think he get a little more on the waist than the torso on this guy. Legs, complete does splits, McFarlane style hip joints, rotations, pretty good on him. Forward about that much. He's one of the few McFarlane figures with a thigh cut, which is interesting because the rotation is actually pretty good, so he doesn't even need it. Double jointed knees below that. And then his ankle, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, at least a little bit, and of course, to articulation. Here's a look at Midnighter on a rooftop, keeping his city safe. Here's a look at Nightwing and Midnighter. Midnighter's giving Nightwing a hand protecting Bloodhaven. And here's a look at Grifter with Midnighter, Wildcats reunited. And here's a look at Midnighter finally meeting Batman in the Batcave. Midnighter says, "I've heard a lot about you." And he decides to take the opportunity to sort of talk crap to Batman. Didn't think you'd be so old, but I guess it makes sense. Your boy Dick Grayson's pretty good at what he does. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to Wave Rider. These are the two newest gold labeled Target exclusive figures in the same sort of wave. And here he is, next to Grifter, another character from Wildcat Comics incorporated into the DC canon. They both have encounters with members of the Bat family. Midnighter, mainly with Nightwing, and Grifter with Lucius Fox. Then, next to the Future State Dark Detective Batman, Midnighter and him share a bunch of parts. They made 3 variations of the Future State body, and now with Midnighter, the 4th use for it. Now let's check him out, next to some other recent Target exclusive releases. Here he is, next to Ted Kord Blue Beetle, both versions of the Rebirth Supergirl, the Sinestro Corps Batman, Impulse, and Deadman. And here he is, next to the Target exclusive Flashpoint Wave, Collective Build Cyborg. Then, next to the Target exclusive Joker Eyes Dark Knight Trilogy Wave, Collective Build of Joker Eyes Bane. Then, next to some more Target exclusive Joker Eyes stuff. Now let's check him out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Amazon exclusive Glow in the Dark variations of John Stewart Green Lantern, Swamp Thing, Titan Joker, and the Infected Batman. Here's this Batman, next to some Entertainment Earth exclusive figures. We have some Blacklight figures on the left, and some line art sketch figures on the right. And here he is, next to Wave 2 of the McFarlane Collector's Edition, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Firestorm, Hawkman, and Sinestro. Then, next to the Injustice 2, Superman and Brainiac. And now, next to the Last Night on Earth, Batman vs. Omega 2-pack. Here he is, next to the Dark Knights of Steel Batman, and both versions of the Jim Gordon Batman. And here he is, next to the Batman Beyond vs. Just Lord Superman 2-pack. Then, next to both versions of the Santa Batman. And now, next to the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive black and white accent versions of Joker and Martian Manhunter. Then, next to some recent McFarlane Toy Store exclusive figures, We have the patina variant of Superboy Prime and Merciless, then Interrogation Room Joker and Catman, and finally, next to the Aquaman of the Lost Kingdom movie wave. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jakks Pacific and DST or Diamond Select toys. Here he is, next to a can of Raid my wife used to decorate the Christmas tree. And here he is, next to some DC Direct and some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, next to some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Here he is, next to some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts figures and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, he's a pretty cool figure. Ton of reuse, but it works for the character. I like the way it looks. There's some things I like about the character, and some things I don't like about the character. I like the fact that he's sort of Batman-esque, very brutal, vigilante type guy. I also like the fact that he interacts with Batman characters, minor ones. He helped Nightwing quite a bit in Bloodhaven. He's also interacted with Batman himself recently. If I had to rate this figure, I'm probably going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's a nice figure, not great, but a new character to add to the selection. And I wasn't expecting getting obscure characters like this guy from the DC line, so that's really cool. I wouldn't agree with calling it a DC classic, but whatever. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it in the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.